First, let me begin by saying that this video is going to be more of a bullet point video about things that happened and were said during the course of the investigation in 2017. I will provide dates and link sources in the description box below the video. I will not be showing all of the sound bites where these things can be listened to. I have done immense research on this case and have many files with this information. There has been so much speculation and misinformation all over social media. It is hard to unpack fact from fiction, but I do hope that this video will help with some of that. So let's dive in. Police Chief Steve Mullins was asked a question by a reporter on whether or not people in Delphi should be scared or concerned for their safety. The residents of Delphi are smart enough to draw their own conclusions on how they should feel about being scared, was his reply. Kim Riley, the communication officer for the Indiana State Police, said, "I think people need to be cautious and careful. Parents should make sure they know where their children are and what their children are doing online. If nothing else, know what is going on in their lives. That is the most important thing I can say." February 15th, 2017. Tobe Lesenby's response to the very same question was, "We feel this is an isolated incident and there is no reason for concern for public safety at this time." Now, between you and me, I find that a little odd of a statement, being the fact that two teenage girls were just murdered in a horrific manner in their city, and they have no suspect in custody and no ideas of who this person may be, and they're telling the public to not be afraid. I just found that a little odd, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. On February 16th, 2017 at 7:37 p.m., law enforcement serves a search warrant at a residential home on Bicycle Bridge Road and spent several hours there at that location. Now, law enforcement stated it came from leads that they had gotten in the case. Basically, with information we received in tips and interviewing people, we had enough probable cause to believe we had enough information that could be relevant to this case. Per Kim Riley, Indiana State Police Sergeant. Now, Riley would not comment on what was taken out of the home, and law enforcement later would confirm that this led to nothing in the girls' murder investigation. Doug Carter, superintendent for the Indiana State Police, says he has been in this business for 35 years and has never seen anything like this. He is 100% convinced that this case is solvable. On February 22nd, 2017, the Faros Tribune reported that the Indiana Packers employment office in Lafayette, Indiana, received a bomb threat, stating that there were 2 bombs. The plant was evacuated and thoroughly searched by Indiana State Police. Sheriff Tobe Lesenby said that the search turned up nothing. He said, "I think somebody thought we had a bunch of downtime," in jest. He clarified that the activity was unrelated to law enforcement's ongoing investigation into the murder of Abby and Libby. And unlike the previous 2 times in years prior, when there was a bomb threat at this plant, the plant was not evacuated as per company policy, even though it was reported to have been. Police descended on the facility and only stayed a short time and left with a pair of black rubber boots in a clear plastic bag. Employees were not allowed to leave, and Alexis McAdams from ABC7 tweeted, "Police still are sweeping Delphi for evidence in the murders, and police brought these boots in to analyze, not key evidence at this point. The police were called at 1:10 p.m. and Alexis tweeted that at 1:53 p.m., it took hours to search the plant in prior bomb threats, and this time it only took 43 minutes. This bomb threat remains unsolved to this day. The prior bomb threats have all been resolved. Was the real reason for this raid to look for evidence in the murder investigation? And if so, why would law enforcement not want to admit that? Why is there contradicting statements from Tobe and Alexis McAdams? These are all very interesting questions surrounding this investigation. Now, Robert Ives was the prosecutor at the time for the Delphi case, and he posted on his Facebook on February 16, 2017, "Please do not harass or bother anyone. There are currently no charges pending against anyone as a result of the current investigation. No one at any of the homes that have been searched is suspected of any crime. Please leave these people alone and let the police do their work." The Maxwells were searched on February 15, 2017. He also said they were waiting on full DNA results from the FBI. This case is like playing 12 games of Clue all at once. It is so complex compared to the others, it is incredible. For such a small town and a remote location, there are so many players. He also said the wooded area is by no means isolated. In fact, one home that sits at the top of the ridge above where the girls were found had an unobstructed view of where the girls were found. Famed profiler John Kelly said that he believes law enforcement has come across this killer and that this killer is extremely scared. John Kelly is the first person to label serial killing a true addiction. His cases include the Long Island serial killer, the Atlantic City serial murders, the Green River killer, the I-70 killer, and the Golden State Killer East Area rapist. He thinks that Bridge Guy has gone to great lengths to hone and tune his alibi, and he feels that this is highly probable. He even goes on to say that those close to him may not even realize that it is an alibi. In July of 2017, on the 17th, law enforcement releases the sketch of Bridge Guy. This sketch will become known on social media as OBG or Old Bridge Guy and the first sketch released. However, it is not the only sketch, as we will learn 2 years later. First Sergeant Jerry Holman, the lead investigator on the Delphi case in the beginning, said, "Several people saw Bridge Guy that day, and those people helped develop the first sketch. One of those witnesses was never comfortable with that sketch, and that is why we were told to ignore the hat and concentrate on the face." Jerry Holman, in an 8/14/2017 interview, said, "This is a tough case. This is a tough case. There is alleged a lot of evidence, but really we have very little evidence in this case. So we are working with what we have. We do not have a lot, but we have more than enough to make a case. But they are not getting that break yet, you know." And Holman goes on to say that the sketch is not just from one person. So we actually have several people who have said that they saw that person that we identified through the video that we obtained off Liberty's phone. And we put that out. So once these people saw it, they said, "Oh, I saw that guy. Oh, I saw that guy." The composite drawing took 2 to 3 weeks to complete, and we wanted to be absolutely sure that it was exactly as people had recalled. We want to make sure people know that this may not look exactly like the person, but it is going to have similar facial features. If somebody walked into this room right now for 30 seconds and then left, the 4 of us in the room would all have different drawings, but the facial features, the major identifiers, we would all get right. And I still believe somebody knows. Somebody knows what happened. In September of 2017, Daniel Nations becomes a person of interest in the Delphi homicides when he is arrested in Colorado Springs, Colorado. He was accused of threatening a man with a hatchet on a trail, and 2 weeks before, near that same trail, a man was murdered. Indiana State Police Sergeant Kim Riley said they were made aware of Nations and immediately started to exchange notes. This is just one of the dozens of suspects they have checked out as part of their investigation into the girls' murders. This is not something that is just done this one time. It's been done over and over again, Riley said. We have had some from Kokomo. We've had some Logansport incidents. Lafayette Police Department has contacted us, as well as out-of-state departments. When YouTuber Michael Catt interviewed Kim Riley about Daniel Nations and whether or not they had DNA, he said that they will take swabs from anyone they have questioned and will compare what was taken at the crime scene. So that leads us to believe, even in those very early days, they had DNA. As the year of 2017 passes, we continue to watch and listen for any news from law enforcement as where they are in the investigation and what, if any, suspects they may be looking at. What is about to happen in this case will be quite shocking, as in December of 2017, Robert Ives, the prosecutor for Carroll County, resigns, and Nick McClelland is the new prosecutor, and he takes over the case. He makes the announcement that everything regarding the Delphi murders must go through him before it is released to anyone. Little to no information will be forthcoming over the next 4 years. Leaving a vacuum can always be problematic because then the public will create their own narrative. And the case of Abby and Libby is no different. In fact, it actually becomes quite like a circus online, with people comparing people's Facebook profiles to the old Bridge Guy sketch and calling out people's names as persons of interest. And this is only the tip of the iceberg, as it will become far worse over time. That's all for today, folks. What I'm going to do in the next few videos, we're going to go into the 2018 and 2019 years of the investigation and what happens in those years. And there's some really telling things that I think some people may have forgotten over time, because let's face it, going back 5 years and trying to remember everything that was said is really quite difficult in this case, as there's so many layers to it. So hopefully the videos will help to refresh people's memories and maybe bring up some new questions that people may have. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly appreciate your support, and thank you so much for watching Behind the Crime Door. And until next time, I hope everyone stays safe out there. Talk to you soon.